So.
Oh man, it is tough looking at it.
All right. I hope you can hear me. By the way, do you?
Yes.
Yes.
Good. So we are here in the widest lane. This is our main street, and there are lots of big houses. When you look back, you can see on the right and on the left, the rich and noble people used to have their homes. And the biggest privately owned building in Old City is right opposite. And there's something special. Next to the entrance, there are 4 chains with a handle. These were the doorbells, like people used to have them long ago. If one pulls there, the bells inside ring. But not anymore, because everybody tries. And the people who live there, they don't like that. They fix them. They have a modern one now, like everybody else. Interesting detail. The people who own the house and live in it are descendants of the noble family that moved in more than 300 years ago. So they're still in there. Not the same people, but the same family, which is amazing. And another thing which is very obvious is the wide gate. It's on all the big houses. It had to be so wide that a carriage could drive into the courtyard. Imagine a big courtyard behind a big house. People got a barn and a stable there. Animals and vegetables. A city in the old days was like a big village. Sure, it didn't look like one, but it smelled like one. And even worse, because there was a tannery and a skinnery in town. The stench coming from there was really outstanding. And the streets were out of dirt, no cobblestone. The animals were in the streets, at least in the daytime. Not only poultry, also goats and pigs. Thousands of animals doing their part. Everywhere. And the people were throwing it out of the window. In the early morning, it was kind of dangerous walking the streets, because after people got up, they emptied their chamber pots through the window into the street. And they were told to give a short warning before. So they were kind of fair. But seconds later it happened. And it's kind of tricky too. Because when somebody shouts down, people in the street look up. And it was all in the streets, all that dirt and crap. Just one idea to get rid of it. They used to have a gutter in the street. Twice a week, everyone had to sweep the dirt laying in front of his house into that gutter, and then they hoped for next rain to come and wash it downhill in the moat or in the valley. But that was more hope than a good idea. It didn't really work. In July, August, when it was hot and dry, nothing went downhill. But it stank so horrible that all the rich people who could afford having a solid house on the countryside went out of town. It wasn't romantic at all. In the summer, in a city. I know I stole that. Don't blame me. And because of all the dirt in the streets and the stored food in the houses, there were all these rats. And what happened because of the rats? Bubonic plague. It was a special kind of flea living on rats. The flea got this bacteria, killing all these millions of people. And the most dramatic thing was, no matter where or when it happened, once people got the plague and died, in more than 90% of the cases, there was no priest showing up to give them last rites. Not because they refused to go or they were too scared. It was vice versa. They were amongst the first victims because they weren't. But it was contagious. And there weren't that many priests in a city. Pretty soon they were all gone. That meant for all the rest, no last rites. And it meant going where? Hell. This was the drama about this disease. Not to die, but like this. Knowing hell is next. And that will be it for eternity. You know, people were so religious in the Middle Ages. Their only aim was to make it up. And then the plague came in between and ruined it all. And they knew it's hell that's waiting. You know, this dimension of fear was so severe that we cannot imagine it. Not the dimension it had when it happened to those people back then. Rational as we are nowadays about these kind of things. More or less. And besides plague, there were other diseases. Sure, there was hunger and poverty. People could die from simple infections like bad teeth. Life expectancy was low. Well, I don't want to make everything negative. But one thing is surely true. There were no good old days.